Good evening, everybody. It is Thursday night, June 25th. It is time for a COVID edition of the Iman Report. Tonight, we are going to talk about the resumption of sports and the dreaded COVID 19 that could potentially sabotage the season. Rob Manfred has imposed a 60-game Major League Baseball season that will start on July either 23rd or 24th tentatively. Players will report to spring training on July 1st. We're going to find out a lot of things with spring training resuming July 1st. A lot of questions with a lot of ball clubs is it safe for them to continue spring training in Arizona and Florida where cases are spiking out of control right now? The Giants, they're indicating they're going to resume their spring training at Oracle Park. The spread in California, here in California, has been rising. Last couple days, it's dropped off a little bit. I think it's thanks to wearing the mask. Wear the mask. Since the mask order has kicked in, I think we're going to start seeing maybe a bit of a decline in cases. So I think it'll be okay to have baseball without fans here in California for the Giants, the A's, the Angels, the dreaded Dodgers, and the Padres. Arizona, maybe not so much. Cases are spiking pretty bad in Arizona right now. The good news is a lot of the local governments over in Arizona have decided to issue mask orders. So that could help to slow the spread, hopefully. Florida, I don't think they should be holding baseball there. NBA, they may want to consider moving their bubble out of Florida. Cases are spiking. The governor has not done a lot to order masks, but he is starting to feel the pressure of ordering masks in the state of Florida in order to slow the spread over there. But cases are, I just don't know if you can plausibly hold spring training in Florida and Arizona with the cases spiking as bad as they are. And then on top of that, Colorado's Rockies outfielder Charlie Blackmon tested positive for COVID-19. What's going to happen when a Major League Baseball player tests positive for COVID-19? Season's going to get canceled? No. A player who does test positive will go on a quarantine list until they test double negative every 2 weeks or so. So that's the plan. So you're going to have the 30-man roster. So you'll start off with a 30-man roster on opening day. And then 2 weeks after that, it'll be trimmed down to 28 and then down to 26 for the rest of the season. Taxi squads. There will be up to a 30 to 32-man taxi squad that will likely replace minor league baseball this year with the taxi squads. So that will be good news and taxi squads will likely probably have practice games on the same fields. So that's the plan there. There'll be at least a 30-man taxi squad. So you have plenty of reinforcements in the event players test positive for COVID. Well, and now next July 1st, players report. I think that's when we're going to find out how bad the COVID situation is in these players. How many of these players are going to test positive for COVID-19 is another story here. If we see a huge spike in cases and we see player after player testing positive for COVID-19, then the season, they may have to discuss canceling the season at that point. But if all things go well, July 23rd, 24th, play ball. Then we go to September. We'll still have our best in October. We'll still have the one-game wild card. The best of 5 divisional series, best of 7 championship series, and a best of 7 World Series. The question is, should they be holding them at their home ballparks? That's 50-50. Time will tell on that. If cases, this is going to be a good question when cases, we'll see how the COVID cases look in August and September, but they need to have a plan ready in case COVID spikes for possibly bubble cities for the playoffs. And honestly, I think the ship sailed. I think if they'd done bubble cities, it would have been in the spring training ballparks. But they got to prepare for a potential bubble plan for MLB playoffs in the event COVID does spike by then. Now, the injured list will remain at 10 days. Yes, the bad news for Madison Bumgarner, the DEH is coming to the NL this year. As for the San Francisco Giants, that could be very good news for Joey Bart. The shortened season already almost, I think, locks up a spot for Joey Bart on the 30-man roster. You could see Buster Posey, instead of catching, he could have the opportunity to DH. That may not be the worst thing in the world. Have Bart play catcher every day, have Posey DH. That will be better for Posey's health. And we could get a good evaluation of how good of a catcher and hitter Joey Bart is. So I think we will see Joey Bart up with the Giants this year. But it's bad for Madison Bumgarner and the other pitchers that like to hit. So, yes, the NL will have the DH this year. Extra innings. This one I don't like. I've seen this with the Fresno Grizzlies, and I do not like this extra inning rule of having the runner on second. So each extra inning, a runner will will start with a runner on second. So it could turn more into a skills competition. So I'm not a fan of this rule. It could backfire and create longer games. Time will tell. I'm not a fan of this one. Suspended games. Games that are not at least 5 innings long can be suspended now due to weather and played the next day instead of being postponed to a later date. With it being a shortened 60 season, this is a no-brainer right here. And team relocation. MLB does hold the right to move games to neutral venue sites if COVID is spiking out of control like it is in Florida and Texas and Arizona. Hopefully, these masks will get the cases down. What it means for the Giants. It could mean a lot of good news for the Giants and some of these other pitchers that are coming off of Tommy John. That means we could see, that means no innings restriction for Logan Webb. That is very good news. Logan Webb could could now be in the rotation on the opening day rotation. That's some good news there for the Giants. For the White Sox, it's good news for them. Michael Kopech coming off of Tommy John. He's not going to be on an innings restriction anymore. So a lot of these starting pitchers that are coming off of Tommy John, they're going to be big winners with this shortened season because now they're not going to be under any sort of an innings restriction. Might also be good news for bullpens for some of these teams that are starter needy. They could rely on the bullpen a bit more because the bullpen could have a bit more gas. And you might have expanded bullpens with this 30-man roster. So that that works in the favor of teams that like to do bullpen games. But as for the Giants, as I said, I think the Giants, it's good for Logan Webb. Now Logan Webb's got a spot in the rotation. Another guy probably be in the rotation, Tyler Beatty. You've got Kevin Gossman. You've got Johnny Cueto, who's healthy this year. So Cueto might have been another one that could have been on an innings restriction this year. And Samardzija. Can Samardzija be good enough to be a trade chip here? That's the other rule. That is the rule I forgot to mention is that the trade deadline will now be August 31st. So 30 days, you've got to have your rosters locked in. Could be good or bad. We shall see. Back to what I'm thinking about the Giants, though. Giants it's going to get interesting who makes the rotation or not. It's probably going to be Cueto, Samardzija, Gossman, Locks. Probably Tyler Beatty. You've got Trevor Cahill. You've got Drew Smyly. Those two could plausibly both pitch out of the bullpen. So you got maybe a lot of options for long relief, middle relief. Derek Rodriguez, probably another guy that will probably pitch middle relief, long relief. Another option for middle relief, long relief is Chris Stratton this year. Closer by committee, that is a real possibility for the Giants this year. With potentially 4 or 5 guys competing for the closer spot. You've got the lefty, Tony Watson. You've also got the submariner who really pitched well for the Giants last year in Tyler Rogers. Rogers could be a candidate to close. You've got Sean Anderson. Trevor Gott was good last year. I think Trevor Gott is definitely a guy on the short list of closing. And when this guy returns from injury, maybe Reyes Maranta. You've also got Sam Coonrod, who's a flamethrower. You got Coonrod, Sean Anderson, another real. But I think Sean Anderson, he had a couple saves last year. I think Anderson definitely will pitch either middle relief or put into late inning situation. But I think Coonrod could be a possibility. You've got Trevor Gott. The submariner Tyler Rogers in the bullpen. Yandel Gustav, who has been hit or miss. We'll see if he either ends up on the taxi squad or not, or ends up on the 30-man. You've got Connor Menez. But other guys to maybe watch in the taxi squad to push for jobs. Helio Ramos. He was supposed to be in AAA Sacramento. He is one of the top Giants prospects. Maybe Sean Jelly could be on the taxi squad this year. But it's put up or shut up time for Steven Duggar. And also we got Mike Yastrzemski. He'll be on the 30-man roster. That also helps Donovan Solano. I think he will certainly be on the 30-man roster come opening day. And of course, all your other Giants favorites. And you know what? With 60 games, anything can happen. Anything can happen with 60 games. It's a lot more doable for the Giants to make the playoffs in 60 games versus 162 games. This is going to be one fun season. On to other sports. NFL, The NFL has canceled the Hall of Fame game due to COVID-19. They still intend to reopen training camps on time on July 28th. NFL, will they have a season or not? I think there will be a NFL season in some way, shape, or form. Why I think there will be an NFL season is the fact that why I think we might have an NFL season is the fact that by next month or so, we're going to see some of these therapeutics for COVID-19 come online. So that is going to help make NFL possible. There is a couple treatments I've been looking up on that could potentially stop the cytokine storm in COVID that makes it very deadly, and potentially could be taken outpatient. If these treatments prove to be good, if they prove to have an effect, that will get the hospitalizations down. And that is key to getting more sports back returning and getting people back to to some sense of normalcy. So that's why maybe I'm a lot more hopeful for football. You're going to have better treatments by the fall. By the end of the year, there will be some vaccines that will be ready for emergency use. So I think the worst case scenario with the NFL is it may not be played in the fall, but we could potentially see NFL in the spring. That's the worst case scenario. So instead of having the Super Bowl in February, you could have a summer Super Bowl. Could you imagine having the Super Bowl in June or July? Could be a possibility. College football, don't count on there being a season. At least not in the fall. Don't count on it. College, they need to have fans in the seats. A lot of college athletes are testing positive for COVID-19 as it is. A lot of colleges in some of the states are not even going to have in-person learning this fall. So I think it is very difficult to have a college football season this year. I think it's either going to get pushed back to the spring, or we do see college football getting canceled this year. And that would not bode well for guys like Trevor Lawrence, who could be on the Jacksonville Jaguars next year. So college, it's either college ends up playing in the spring, or we don't have a college season. NBA, I think I don't know. They're starting to get cracks on this NBA bubble, and rightfully so. It's really about the cases. It's about how much the cases are rising right now. It's not good in Florida right now. So that could at least lead to a delay of the NBA returning. And NBA players are testing positive already. Jabari Parker of the Sacramento Kings, a notable name, testing positive for COVID-19. WNBA, I doubt they'll have a season this year. MLS, I think things will go as scheduled. I haven't heard a lot of players testing positive there. NHL, things have kind of settled down on NHL as in terms of positive tests as of right now. And they have, right now, Vancouver is not going to be a city. Vancouver is not going to be a city for the NHL hub city. So yeah, did somebody say Vancouver? So yeah, Vancouver is now no longer in consideration to be a hub city. It's looking like it's probably going to be Las Vegas as your western hub. And the eastern hub's either going to be Edmonton or Toronto. But other than that, I think hockey is on track to return. But I think these leagues, they're trying to get all these positive cases out of the system as much as they can before they head to the bubble cities and the hub cities. So I think hockey's going strong. NBA, we'll see. But really, the return of sports comes down to your decisions. It really does. If people don't social distance or wear the mask or wash hands and cases keep rising, the chances are would be less likely we will see sports return. But if we do our part in wearing the mask, wear the mask, do the physical distancing, we'll have sports again. Players will feel a lot more comfortable. So please wear the mask and social distance. That's how we will get sports back quicker. And sports will come back better and stronger than ever. Everybody be safe and have a good night.